to day number 1 of the 30-day solo podcast challenge. I'm David Hooper from bigpodcast.com. My job is to help you grow a big audience for your message. It's like a tree in a forest. If somebody cuts down a tree in a forest and nobody's there to hear it, does it make a sound? If you record a podcast and nobody listens to it, is it worth it? No, it's not worth it. Well, it kind of is. You're going to get better as a host. We're working on that now. But my goal for you is to have a big audience. And by the time you get to the end of this, the end of these 30 days, you're going to have the skills that it takes to attract a big audience for your podcast, for your message. That's what we're going to be working on here. This series of episodes will help you to clarify your message. That's the number one thing you can do to attract and build a great audience. It's going to improve your delivery. At the end of this, you're going to be amazed at how smooth you are. You're going to sound great. You're going to be clear. You're going to get to the point. You're going to make a lot of sense to the people who listen to you. And because of that, you're going to be able to make more money. That happens for a few reasons. 2 of them, I've already mentioned. You're going to have a clear message. You're going to have a better delivery. But also, solo podcasting, that puts you out front. A lot of podcasters, they focus on interview podcasts. Nothing wrong with interview podcasts. But who's the star there? It's the person that you're interviewing. What I want to do is to put you and your message out front so you become the go-to guy. That is the purpose of the 30-day solo podcast challenge. If you haven't already, I want you to listen to the introduction episode. This explains the what and the why of everything happening here. You can do that by going to bigpodcast.com/subscribe. You will see the 30-day solo podcast challenge right there at the top. Hit subscribe, iPhone, Android, RSS feed, however you get your podcast. I've got a one-click option for you to get all the episodes, and the introduction episode is the one that you need to listen to first. As I mentioned, this is day number 1 where you get involved. Previously, that intro episode, I told you a story about how I got involved in podcasting. And today, because we're at day number 1, that focus is on you. I want to hear your story. Everybody has one. It's the one that you always tell. I talked a minute ago about how you can have more flexibility with a solo podcast. You don't have to ask for anybody's permission. So let's start that off right now. The story you tell me, it can be anything. Maybe it's how you met your partner. Maybe it's about that time you were hanging out with some Marines and a case of beer. Maybe it's about your first job, walking to school uphill both ways. You're thinking of a story right now, go with it. And bonus, if you can add some flair. This is what takes a boring story and makes it more interesting for people to listen to. Let me give you an example. You know what I did today? I cleaned a toilet. It wasn't just any toilet though. So let me tell you a story. This is what I did today. I've been working on some voiceover stuff. One of the things that I noticed about this studio is the bathroom is filthy. It's so filthy that it disgusted even me. And that says a lot. So I'm in there last week, noticed the bathroom. I said, man, you guys got to do something about this. And they're like, yeah, well, we do, but it's kind of embarrassing at this point. Can't exactly call a maid. We look like jerks. We tried to clean it. We don't know what to do. So I get on YouTube and I'm watching these videos. What do you do for a really bad toilet? How do you clean that stuff? And everybody's got their way of doing it. Well, vinegar. Some guy said put Coca-Cola in there. I see these things, pumice stones. Pumice stones, like the stuff you put on your feet. I said, oh, that's interesting. I think it's going to scratch everything, but I'm desperate. Get on Amazon, order 3 or 4 things to help me clean this toilet. Brushes, pumice stone, this acidic cleaner. Huge box is delivered. And once it was delivered, I head over to the studio. This stuff is so powerful that it says it just melts away organic matter. You know what I'm saying? I actually felt bad about it. I'm putting this powerful chemical down the toilet into the sewer system. I said, man, that can't be good environmentally. But what else was I going to do? These guys have said it's so bad they can't call the cleaning service. It's up to me to fix the problem. I'm making it my personal mission. So this big, huge package comes in from Amazon. I'm ready. Hit the studio. I've got my acidic cleaner. I've got the pumice stone. And I get in there and I'm scrubbing and scrubbing. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Acidic cleaner, they said leave it there for 5 minutes, go back. All this stuff is just going to melt away. I left it there for 30 minutes. Went, did my work, came back, nothing. I thought I'd been defeated. So I let the water out of the toilet, dumped this acidic cleaner in. It's a 9/10 solution, 9 parts acidic cleaner, 1 part water. Go back, do my work, come back a couple hours later, let it sit there, simmer a little bit. Just marinate in that acidic cleaner. Got my pumice stone, got the brush they had, and I'm scrubbing. It's a cardio workout. My heart rate starts going. I'm breathing faster. I feel like I'm on the Stairmaster. Scrub, 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 scrub. And it's this big mess of blue stuff and like piece of the pumice stone. It's all gray. It's this nasty gray water stuff in there. Everything just sloshing around. I didn't know if it was going to be a success. I flushed the toilet. Bam! Success. Wash my hands. Put the pumice stone in a Ziploc bag because that thing's nasty. Nobody's going to want to touch that. Walked out of the bathroom, back into the studio, victorious. That's an example off the top of my head, just from something that happened today. You've got that thing. You've got that story that you always tell. That is what I want from you on this first episode that you do for the 30-day solo podcast challenge. So here's your action item. I want you to get a pen, a piece of paper. I want you to outline your episode, and you need 3 things in this. I want you to consider the beginning, the middle, and the end. The beginning, usually an intro. The middle, that's the meat. Sometimes I'm going to ask you a question. Sometimes it's going to be a story like today. I want you to tell me a story, the one you're thinking about, that's interesting, funny, add some flair to it. Nobody has to listen to this, so take chances. I just took a chance. Went down that road, and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have used that example. That's okay. Put it out. Part of podcasting is taking chances. Sometimes those chances work. Sometimes they don't work. You're never going to know unless you actually record them. That third part of the episode, that's the wrap up. Bonus if you've got an action step, and I'm going to give you a few that you can give to people. Pick one of them on the episode that you create. Possibly what you could do is request for somebody to share a story with you. Hey, reach out to me via Twitter, reach out to me via the website, share your story with me. Call my phone number, leave me a voicemail. I want to hear your story. That's one. You could request for somebody to join you on this challenge. Send it to your buddy. Hey man, I'm going through this challenge. It's 30 days. It's not too late for you to get in on it. bigpodcast.com/subscribe. Join me. Maybe your request is that typical podcaster request where you ask for somebody to subscribe to your podcast. You heard me do it earlier. It's super easy. You give somebody a URL with a subscription page. That's the way that I recommend it. And if you want to see an example of a subscription page, go to bigpodcast.com/subscribe. Feel free to take my copy, take the design, fill in your details, make that page your own, upload it to your site, bigpodcast.com/subscribe. All right, so I'm going to break that fourth wall here. You heard the intro of this podcast. You just heard the middle meat. And now we're getting into the third section where I wrap things up in a nice bow. This is what that sounds like. 3, 2, 1. Remember, stories are important. I talked about this on the previous episode. Facts tell, stories sell. So I want you to get used to adding stories in your podcast where you can. You don't have to tell just one story. You can tell multiple stories throughout the episode when appropriate. Personal stories are best. Why we're doing this is because we want people to get connected to you. The people listening to your podcast, they need to be connected to you. And stories are the best way to do that. Keep your outline short and tight. My recommendation, 3 to 5 minutes on the outline. Don't overthink it. Hit record, work from your outline, go for it. Then upload it. And if you want to send this to me, Twitter is the best way to do that during this challenge. At David Hooper on Twitter is how to do that. You can also reach me via the website. Bigpodcast.com has all my information. All right, breaking that fourth wall again. That's it for today. Congratulations. You made it through day 1, at least listening to the day 1 episode. To make sure that you don't miss day 2 through 30, because we're going all month here, I want you to go to bigpodcast.com/subscribe. Subscribe to this podcast. That way you won't miss what's coming up. I've made it easy on you, as I've already explained. One button is all it takes. Android, you got a button. iPhone, you got a button. If you want RSS, you've got a button. bigpodcast.com/subscribe. While you're there, I've got a free podcast toolkit for you. Episode templates, social media templates, a music licensing form so you can legally use music on your podcast. Bigpodcast.com/subscribe has that for you. Thank you for listening to the 30 Day Solo Podcast Challenge. I'm glad you're coming along with me on this journey. I'll see you tomorrow for day 2.